In our Help Desk Real World Skills V1.0 course, today we're going to do external tools that are well known. So basically this is an imaging part, and we're going to talk about an external tool and why is it important, because we already talked about why learn imaging and OS deployment skills, and we basically learned about single images using the OS operating systems images and things like VMware images. So let's talk about the tools, the names that are going to make your resume look good. And you can also talk about it when someone asks you, hey, how much do you know about imaging? So when you talk about this stuff and you throw a well-known name in the interview, this is where you're marking that I'm a little different than just a normal person who knows about just the backup stuff. I've learned this in A+, and now you're talking like an IT professional. So let's go and first we're going to do this in our lab environment that you have either purchased or you basically are doing it from a live training. So you can look at your status, and if you have the days for these servers remaining, then you can do it, or you can purchase it from us and you can do it that way as well. Or if you have your own labs, then of course you can do that. Now the first thing we need to talk about is why is it important for us to talk about VM. And forgive me if I pronounce it wrong. You can actually go online and find out how people are pronouncing it. But my pronunciation, I will call it VM. So basically this is kind of like a tool that is used in IT. Different type of companies are using it and it's known. So basically it can do a lot of different type of backups and restore. It's a pretty much very advanced solution for most of the things that we're using these days. For example, Office 365. So it can take a full backup of a OneDrive, and it can also restore things like that. You can see the whole attachments, everything that is in OneDrive, you can take a backup and restore. Now you may think, hey, why don't you do that from Office 365? You can, but then you have more ability over here. They just add more things to it, so that makes it more a tool that you would want to use, because maybe they have a limited things available on the web version. So other thing is that it's not just built for Office 365, it's built for entire systems, even the hardware. And here now you can see this is a virtual system, so you can see the whole VMs can get backed up and replicated, and you can do a lot of advanced stuff with it. So we're not interested in this right now. Right now you're learning just a basic help desk level skill. So we're going to be focusing on how can you use VM to basically take a backup of a single machine, and then you can restore it later on if something was to happen to that laptop or desktop. Usually a lot of people use this type of solution if they have, let's say, a few different type of machine, and they're pretty important people, let's say like a director, and they're always moving out of the office, and that sometimes they're going to mess it up. He or she's going to plug in the USB and something will happen to it. So you want to be safe, you want to keep a full backup of image, and you have done all the hard work on that computer, you have installed all the applications and everything on that, you spend so much time on it. You really don't want to, when he brings it back, at least you can get it back to that initial image that you can save yourself 3 or 4 hours, or how many, maybe 30 minutes is still a time right there. And still also it saves you from reinstalling the operating system, redoing the whole applications and everything. You do have to do an updates after that, and do anything that is being missed in those days from initial image. But of course you can set this whole software up for backups too. Like it can take full images on a weekly basis, daily basis. But I'm just going to keep it very simple. I just want to show you what VM can do, how you can practice, and then just tell people that how much do you know about VM. You really don't need to master this at this level. This is a level 1 learning, so don't worry about it if you don't know much about it. Do not get stressed. Just learn what it does. Once you get the point, that's it, move on. Okay, let's get started. So we have been working on Staff 300B lately, and first we want to see how much space do we have. So if you come over here, you can see we have 67 GB in data store 2 and 52 in the data store 1. So probably we'll be using data store 2. So right now we're going to go ahead and basically go into Staff 300B machine, and we will turn it on. And let's say this is the laptop that we wanna, or the desktop that we are going to take a backup of. So we're gonna log in. Now again, this is something that is a part of a premium and plus level, but this video may be available to a lot of people. So the first thing we need to do is we need to install the VM and the free endpoint. So let me show you how you're going to install it. You will need your account for this. So let's just go to the website. You're going to open a website, and we're going to type VM free endpoint. So just like that, you're going to click on free Windows backup for endpoint. Endpoints are like your laptops, desktops. So here you're going to click on download now, and then it will ask you for the sign in. So you need to create a VM account to actually download this. So I'll log into my account, and I'm gonna go down and find that product. So here it is, and we're going to download it. We're going to agree the agreement, and then we are going to accept. So we're gonna go ahead and save it. And there you go, we have saved it. We're gonna go ahead and open that folder and unzip that file. I'm gonna right click, and we're going to extract all and extract it. So you're unzipping the file, and then we can get to the installer. Alright, so now it's done. We are gonna go ahead and right click on it and run it as an administrator, and then you'll click yes. So here we're going to accept the agreement for this, and we're going to click install, and it may take a little while, so just be patient. So I'm gonna go ahead and just minimize all this stuff. Okay, so that's done now. Now here's the important part right here. It says insert backup target now. So basically you can skip this part for later, or you can continue. Skip this, I'll configure later. So I'm just gonna basically skip it for now. And this is another important one, which we will show you in a second video too, when we do a restore on a laptop. Actually, right now you're just learning how to install VM and how to make it work, but here's the important part is that you need to have some kind of recovery. When you create, every time you create an image like this, then you need to have some sort of recovery, so you can plug it into that laptop and recover it from. This could be a USB, so, or a DVD, something like that. So you basically will plug in the USB at this point and make sure there's nothing in that USB. If you do, it's going to erase everything. That's a little warning for you. And when you finish it, then it's going to run it, and it's just going to format it, which I'm going to show you right after this video. I have actually done it on a real laptop. So I'm just going to finish this for now, and this is it. The VM is installed right now, but there's no configuration done at this point. It doesn't know where to back up things right now. So first thing is we need to first look where do we want to back this machine up. So in our last videos, we basically did our OS operating feature, like, you know, that's what's built in this operating system. So we use this imaging, this E drive that we have connected through in a virtual machine. So I'm just gonna format this drive right now because we don't need this image anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and format it like that and just blow it away. So that's gone. So I want to use this tool now to create a backup instead of my local built-in features. So let's go ahead and open that software one more time, and now it says right here the installation operation is a free mode. Would you like to add? So I'm saying no, the free mode is good for you, and you can always come back and make a recovery media if you haven't created one. And it says right here backups are not configured right now. So right now basically it's not configured, so we're going to do add a new job in here. Okay, so we're going to do add a new job, and then we're going to tell it what do we want to back up. So you can give a job a name. It's gonna say that this is the computer name. Okay, we're going to click next here, and then here it's recommended that you should entire computer, but I don't want to include any USB drives. So if you had any USBs, it's going to also do that. You can also back up things at a volume level, meaning like, let's say for example you just want to back up the C drive or D drive, or you can do a file level backup. You can do this too, but we're only interested in imaging right now. We're not talking about backing up files in this module. So we're gonna create this one, and then it tells you that, okay, where do you want to back up this destination, like where do you want us to keep this file, because it's going to be important. Of course, a lot of people will not use the same machine to put a image on it. Now you can, if it's an external hard drive, right? Or if that one hard drive has partition and it got messed up somehow, then it's going to be really hard for you to use the same hard drive to get the image back up and running. You always want to save these type of things to either network drive or to an external USB, something like that, to make sure you can get to it. So for example, you can use a network by share folder. There's other options that it can give you. You can even send it to OneDrive. I didn't know that, by the way. This is a new stuff that they have added. So that's like cloud-based backing up right now. If you have a lot of space in your OneDrive, you can actually send this whole backup to OneDrive. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to click next here, and then you see I have that volume that I can actually use this. So you see free space is this much, total space is this much. So my C drive can be done in this E drive, so I can just use that, right? And then he says right here, keep backups for 14 days, excluding days with no backups, blah blah blah. You can actually go a little bit more advanced, like you want to keep backing up at after 7 days, incremental backup. So it wouldn't capture the whole image again, but it will capture the changes. So that's important if you have someone that is too high level and you really are worried about losing data, basically. But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people will actually take one image and they don't care about the rest. If they come back with a laptop, you'll just put that whole image again, and at least you can then update it, put a Windows update, or you will put more applications on it. I mean, that's most likely you're going to be doing this, because most of the data for documents, images, people use network drives. If usually a lot of companies don't recommend people to be saving their personal data in the computer in C drive, because they say, hey, if you lose it, you lose it. That's why we give you network drives. That's why we give you OneDrive. That's why we give you cloud drive. So you should be responsible for that. So here we're gonna click next here, and then it gives you the schedule, how many, periodically, how many you want to do this, like every day, do this kind of backup, that kind of backup. What do you do after the backup? You want to lock the machine, you want to log off the machine. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna basically enable to perform internal image. So yeah, so basically the reason it's not performing is that because we're using the same drive, even though we added it as a virtual drive, but it's still the same drive. So I'm actually going to go back and change some of the things. So let's trick this system that we're going to make it kind of like a network drive right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this, go to properties, actually go to properties here. Or maybe I'll just do it this way. I'm just going to create a share drive folder. Oops, messed up with the share. And I'm going to right click on this, and I'm going to go to properties, and I'm going to click on sharing, advanced sharing, and I'm going to go share this folder. Like I said, you won't be doing this if you have a physical USB connected to this machine. You're just going to go straight to that, no problem. But here we're doing certain things to make it work. So this is the share I have right now. Okay. And we're going to go back here. And we're going to click actually go back. And we're going to do this part. And click next. And you see right there is our share. So it's going to ask you for a username and a password. So let's see which format is this going to take. So if you could do... This is a workgroup machine. Remember, if you are using a workgroup machine, you have to write the name of the machine, and then you have to write the username and password for this machine. But in a domain environment, you're going to just use whatever the initials of that domain is, probably CC, whatever you have named it, JSS 0/ the name. So we're going to do this part, but it may work, it may not work, and we need to troubleshoot if it doesn't work. So it took it. And we're going to do apply, and there you go. That's how you trick a system. Right now it was telling me that an internal drive cannot be added. I mean, virtual drive is actually is an external drive in the virtual machine, but it somehow considered it as internal. So we just tricked it by actually doing a share folder. So you learn two things right now. One, you could have simply straight go ahead and just plug in the hard drive, and you wouldn't have seen this issue. That's actually good that we came across this. Another is that if you're going to be sending this image to a network location, which a lot of people are going to do this way, and then they're going to send it to that network location, and then later on you can retrieve it also from a network. Once your laptop is connected and you use that recovery, you have an internet connection, it's going to actually go out and bring it from the network, so no problem in there. So we just basically did that, and now we have started, we have created a job right here. So we're going to go back, and so we created the first job. So once you click on it, you see the first job is created. Now this tab is enabled. I can also come here and just go this way and do the active full backup, standalone backup. I can do all that, but I can just click on backup, and it's going to give me that information. It will start the backup right away, and there you go. The process is started, and now we're just going to wait for it. See, the job folder got created and the job started. So the full backup is going to be done, and the rest is going to be however you configure this system. So this may take some time, and that's how you do a full image backup. Now I'm going to actually show you after this video how do you actually first of all, how do you if you have this system already installed, then how do you make it up to date? So you're going to go to about, and then you're going to click on check now. So if you have this available, you can actually install the new version in here. Then from here you will create a recovery media, which I'm going to show you, and then I'll show you a real world example of I took an image of a laptop just like what I did right now, so you understand how to install it and take a backup. But then from that real world video, you're going to learn how do you restore a full image on a laptop. So then this will be a complete training for you from starting to end. How do you take care of laptops using this tool so this way you're going to learn all that. So right now if I go back, you can actually see the backup is started, and it's going to take time. Let's forget this now and let's move on. So when you install VM or update VM, this is the first option that you get. So I recommend that you create this media recovery. Basically, this is going to be that USB that you're going to be using on a physical machine that I'm going to show you, that you will need for recovery. So you need to create a USB, and this should be a spare USB, should keep you somewhere safe, and with the backup, and then run this. So I'm going to plug in my USB and run this media creation. So here in volume D, I have added one which already had the VM, but this may be older, so I'm going to go ahead and run it anyway, and we will run this to create a new media. But remember that this is going to remove any data from that USB. So do know that it's going to create problems if you have some information on that USB. You will never get that back because it will be formatted. Now it says include network connection from this computer. Now I don't want to do this because if I have to use this recovery media, then I really don't want to use this computer drivers and things like that. So I am gonna go without the recommendation because I know that I'm not going to be using the same computer for recovery. So here we're going to go ahead and click on next. It's going to ask you to pick the media. So this is our media. We're going to click yes, and right now it's going to ask you, do you want to do this, because after that it will be formatted. So we're going to click yes. Then you're going to get this option where you need to click on create, because it will erase all the data from that USB, and this is where then we just wait on it. Once this is finished, we're just going to click on finish here, and then we will use that USB for recovery on the machine. So once it's done, you will remove the USB, and let's go and show you how to do this on a real. Right, so in this real world scenario, we have a laptop that, let's say you took an image using VM, let's say 1 month or 2 months ago for this director. That's important laptop. Now the operating system having issue, or something went wrong and the computer cannot come up. Now there's one thing that you need to remember, that when you take a backup like this, if you didn't schedule imaging or taking backup on a regular basis, then you are going to go back to that 1 month old image. So whatever this director have after that 1 month, you cannot recover that. Okay, maybe you can recover it with some other ways, but that's not a part of this course. That's going to be just a little too much for this course, so we're going to keep this for later on. Right now we just want to get back this laptop to that original image. Now how do we do it? We created a recovery media by using a different USB, and this is your backup is right here. This is 250 GB USB, and that is just few 7 or 8 GB. So we created a restore recovery on this USB. We plugged it into this laptop, and you turn on the laptop. Now, depending on what type of model, what type of make you're using, you need to go and search that. This one is F12, so I'm going to hit F12, and then after that it's going to give me an options right here that says that you need to start this machine with the USB. So I'm going to hit that option and start that laptop with the USB. Make sure you go online and Google and find in your documentation for the laptop that you're going to be working on to find out how to boot that system from a USB, and this is how you are going to be learning stuff. So be patient with this, because if you're using SSD, then it may be faster, but if you're using a normal hard drive, then this can take a little time. Even the imaging restoring part will depend on what type of system you're using. If it's SSD, it's going to be fast. If it's normal, then it's going to be a little slow. So now you can see right now the computer is starting with the recovery media. As you can see, it's saying right there. And now we're going to just wait for it to it's fully come up. And then we're going to add this USB that has a backup and image of this machine right there. So at this point, we're going to pick up our USB and we're going to plug it in to this laptop. So there you go, we just plugged it in. And now what we want to do is we want to do bare metal recovery. Windows recovery is another way to recover. Like, remember in our first videos about Windows, using a Windows built-in tool, you can actually use that. But here we're going to use bare metal recovery. And then it's looking for a USB right there. You see that it went out there in the G drive VM backup job, and it found actually a backup. And you can see it was taken 9 days ago, and it's Windows 10 Pro. So that is exactly what we were looking for. We're going to go ahead and click next, and you see it says full right there, and we're going to click next again. So here I want to basically show you something that I like to do more of a manual restore in advance, because yes, these two other things can work, but I like to do manual. I'll show you something, because this way I can see what is getting backed up. So it's telling me a full story right here. You can see what I want is I basically want all these drives right here. You can see cannot find original disk layout. Do you want to partition this manually? And I will say yes, basically. And then it will take me to this option right here. Now this is where you need to make sure you right click and apply backup layout. Now that's going to change it to exactly how it is in that image. So this way you're not going to have any mistakes. You can see now it changed, and it's just using the layout that's in the backup, and that disk will change to this one. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and I'm going to click next, and I'm going to click yes. And then we're going to do restore. So this is where we're just going to wait on this, and when it finishes up, we should have Windows 10 Pro coming up again on this laptop with no issues. And if you have your documents saved for this person somewhere on a network or images or anything like that, you will just put it back again, and then you will set up anything else. Let's say if there's an email setup or whatever is there like that you have not set up after the image, then you will do that. And that is the beauty of imaging, because that's what we do. That's how we save our time, and that's how we basically save our time on multiple machines. And that's how you actually work in IT, because you don't have time to be installing operating systems, single operating systems each time, putting everything again and again. You don't do that. You try to make your life easy by using these type of tools. Our image is completed, and now we're just going to click on finish, and we're going to reboot this machine. And when we reboot it, I'm just going to remove all this USB stuff from there, and you can see this is getting started, and now we should see Windows 10 coming up with no issue. So Windows 10 will come up, and after that, of course, this is a new image. You went back to, like, let's say a month or 2 months back with a fresh system. So whatever is missing, you're going to start updating that. Number one, you should be updating the Windows updates for security reasons. Second, you should be updating any softwares that you have installed on this system. You should be updating that, which you're going to learn later on in our course, how to use this, some of the tools to make your life easy by picking the software automatically. And there's a lot of things you can do to make your life easy at this point too. But of course, we're going to go slowly to learn these different type of skills. But at this point, things are good, because if the operating system is coming up with the boot image without any USB connection, you know everything is coming up clearly. After that, it's just a matter of you spending some time on it and getting the things back up and running. So that's how you do imaging and make your life easy. So here's the final confirmation. If you have any questions about this, please write us in the comment area. We will help you out with this type of learning.